If Tyson beats Usyk, I want to fight the best in the world. And if he beats Usyk, he's the best in the world. And he's a great friend of mine. But I'll fight anyone and everyone to be the best, because I know I'm the best.
From ruling the cruiserweight division to becoming the heavyweight king, Oleksandr Usyk has faced every challenge in his way. But with the heavyweight division getting more competitive, everyone is asking, what's next for the champ? Should he fight Joseph Parker to meet his WBO mandatory requirement, or should he go straight for a rematch with Daniel Dubois to win back his undisputed status?
Usyk, I want my revenge. I want my revenge, Usyk. Well done on tonight. Well done on tonight. God bless. I want my revenge for the robbery in last time. Let's get it. Let's go. Let's go. Where's Frank? Make it happen.
Mr. Excellency. Your Excellency.
Business-wise, if I was Usyk, that's the path I'd go. I'd go Parker, I'd go Dubois. That's how I'd look at it. And I'm quite sure everybody else is...
Sky Sports expert Johnny Nelson thinks there's only one right choice: Usyk should fight Parker first. And when you break it down, it makes perfect sense. Let's talk about why Usyk's journey has never been easy. Whether it was defeating Tony Bellew, outboxing Anthony Joshua twice, or dealing with Tyson Fury's trash talk before their fight, he has always faced the toughest challenges. Usyk has already beaten Daniel Dubois. That fight is over. It may not have been his most dominant performance, but he got the job done. Dubois gave him some tough moments, but Usyk adjusted, adapted, and showed why he's one of the most skilled boxers of this era. Joseph Parker, on the other hand, is a new challenge. Usyk hasn't faced him yet, and that matters. Usyk is known for studying his opponents, finding their weaknesses, and using them to his advantage. When he fights someone for the first time, he's gathering data. When he faces them again...
Oh! And again, Usyk with it.
And what we have to remember...
Oleksandr Usyk putting on the performance of a lifetime. AJ, play it safe, or will he...
Fighting Parker now means Usyk stays active, stays sharp, and adds another big win to his record. And let's not forget, Parker is dangerous. He's not the same fighter he was a few years ago. He's been on an impressive run, beating Deontay Wilder and proving he's still a serious threat in the division. A win over Parker would only add to Usyk's legacy. Boxing politics also play a big role in every decision. If Usyk skips the Parker fight, he could lose his WBO title. And why would he give up a belt when he's so close to securing his dominance? Gareth A. Davies explained it best, saying, "It's a depth charge from the WBO that could sink Usyk and Dubois becoming undisputed."
And Blondell, hands are full known right now. It's Parker who set up going for the knockout. Joseph Parker caught him again. Wilder swinging and ghosts right now. Wilder's got to hold on here. The referee's close. There's that big rainbow shot. You've been out of good big, Sergio.
The main reason for a rematch between Usyk and Dubois is the controversy from their first fight. Many believe Dubois was unfairly robbed after landing a body shot that was ruled a low blow. As Gareth A. Davies pointed out, there's still all the controversy over the low blow in their first fight.
Dubois holds the IBF title that was stripped from Usyk, going to the complications of this, stripped from Usyk after he won all the belts against Tyson Fury. Basically they're saying you're not going to have the WBO belt for this undisputed title fight that they're putting Usyk and Daniel Dubois together. It is boxing politics at its worst. It's a depth charge that the WBO have dropped, and it will scupper Usyk.
That controversy has sparked talks about a rematch, with some believing Dubois could perform better the second time around. However, Davies doesn't see it that way. Some think he might do well against Usyk, but I still believe Usyk wins. This brings up an important question. If the result seems predictable and there's no undisputed title at stake, why should Usyk take the fight? On top of that, if the WBO strips Usyk of his title, everything changes. A vacant belt should be fought for by the most deserving contenders, and that's where Parker comes in.
The biggest fight out
We'll
there.
have to wait. Okay.
Yeah, I think Parker will have to wait. But the fascinating thing, because I think Usyk and Dubois does sell in a big stadium in the UK. They got all the controversy of the low blow in the first fight. Dubois flying. Some people think he might do a good job against Usyk. I think Usyk still wins that.
Usyk wants to fight for a real title, not just a rematch based on controversy. That's why Joseph Parker is the most logical opponent. Davies broke down the WBO rankings and pointed out the top contenders right now: Justice Hooney, Moses Itama, and Fabio Wardley. But none of them have the same reputation as Parker. He's a former world champion with a much stronger resume than Dubois. His dominant win over Deontay Wilder proved he's back in top form, and he's already shown he can compete with the best. If the WBO belt is truly vacant, wouldn't it make more sense for Usyk to fight Parker for it? And let's not forget what's at stake. Davies summed it up perfectly. Boxing is being made complicated again, but it really shouldn't be. The simplest solution is the best. Usyk versus Parker for the WBO belt, the heavyweight division, is at a crucial turning point. Saudi Arabia's growing financial influence has led to more super fights, and fans are demanding high-stakes matchups. Even Davies admitted, without the Saudis, you wouldn't get them.
For Parker, if Usyk's stripped of the title and that becomes vacant, is that number 1, 2, and 3 are Justice Hooney, Moses Itama, and Fabio Wardley in the rankings. So who knows what may happen with that? But it's boxing being complicated again, and it really shouldn't.
That means promoters and fighters should focus on making the biggest and most meaningful fights happen now. Usyk versus Dubois doesn't have the stakes or excitement of a real championship fight. Without the undisputed title on the line, it loses its importance. On the other hand, Usyk versus Parker has a clear purpose: crowning a true WBO champion. By fighting Parker now, Usyk keeps all his belts and his options open. If he wins, he remains the unified champion and can decide his next move. It's the smartest choice. Now, let's talk about Daniel Dubois. Yes, he's the IBF champion now, and yes, he's looked good in recent fights. But does Usyk really need to fight him right now? Dubois may have improved since their first fight, but that doesn't change the fact that Usyk already beat him. And history shows one thing about Usyk: he's even more dangerous in rematches. Usyk isn't a knockout artist who relies on power. He's a technical genius who studies his opponents, breaks them down, and makes adjustments. If they fight again, Usyk will be even more prepared.
Has been ordered by the WBO to begin negotiations with Joseph Parker for a mandatory title defense. Joseph retained his interim WBO title in Feb with a second-round knockout win against Piccoli. Usyk and Parker have 30 days to find an agreement, or the WBO will order purse bid.
Dubois' win over Filip Hrgović was impressive, but it wasn't enough to demand an immediate rematch with Usyk. He's in a good position, but he still needs more big names on his record. That's why a fight with Anthony Joshua makes perfect sense for him right now. If Dubois beats Joshua, the Usyk rematch becomes an even bigger event. But if he fights Usyk next and loses again, that's 2 losses to the same guy, and his reputation takes a big hit. Dubois still has time. His rematch with Usyk will happen, but it doesn't need to be next. Now let's talk about another big name in this equation, Anthony Joshua. Where does he fit into all of this?
Daniel Dubois versus Filip Hrgović is a very interesting fight that I think will come down to the strategy and conservation of energy from Daniel Dubois, more so than the skill.
Tyson Fury is out of the picture for now, which means Joshua needs a big fight to stay relevant in the heavyweight division. And what bigger fight is there right now than AJ versus Dubois? If Usyk beats Parker and Joshua beats Dubois, suddenly new possibilities open up. Usyk versus Joshua 3, maybe Usyk versus Dubois again if Dubois proves himself. The key is to keep things exciting. The heavyweight division needs big fights, and this setup delivers exactly that.
Listen, Usyk-Parker fight, I think is a good fight. Parker's on a bit of a roll. He's just beaten Martin Piccoli. That was a great knockout. I know Piccoli was flying in late from the Congo and he was tired, but that shot on the top of his head sent his equilibrium, and he got stretchered and he got ironed out. It was all over the place. The fight had to be stopped. So, although it was
Carl Froch, however, has a different opinion on the WBO ordering Usyk to fight Joseph Parker. He questions whether this is really the fight fans want to see. Froch acknowledges Parker's recent knockout win over Martin Bakole, calling it impressive, but he also points out that Bakole wasn't in peak condition. I know Bakole flew in late from the Congo and was tired, but that shot to the top of his head messed up his balance. He was all over the place and got completely knocked out. The fight had to be stopped. Despite Parker's strong performance, Froch isn't convinced he has much of a chance against Usyk.
But I'll be honest, I would rather see Dubois Usyk. I think that's a more interesting fight. I think Dubois has got more of a chance against Usyk. He dropped him down. I know it was a body shot, stroke, low blow, depending on which side of the fence you're on. But it was a good fight. Dubois has improved since. Usyk's getting older. Obviously, they're both getting older, but Usyk's old.
Froch highlights Usyk's dominance, making it clear how tough it would be for Parker to pull off an upset. Look at what Usyk has done. He beat AJ twice and Fury twice. So you can't really say Joseph Parker has much of a chance against someone like Usyk. However, he does admit that timing could play a role. You never know. If Usyk is getting older and Parker is riding some momentum, it could make for an interesting fight. And honestly, I'd like to see Parker get his shot. He deserves it.
My heart gives Usyk more of a challenge than Parker, but my heart's saying give Parker his shot. He deserves it. But it's interesting. If the WBO are going to take the title off Usyk, and the Dubois fight, as I've already said, is not a unification fight, maybe give Parker his shot, and then Dubois can then step in and fight the winner of that.
That being said, Froch believes there's a more exciting fight available. He argues that Usyk versus Daniel Dubois would be the better matchup. I think the fight I'd rather see is Dubois versus Usyk. It's more interesting, and I think Dubois has a better chance against Usyk. He points to their first fight, where Dubois knocked Usyk down with a body shot, though there was controversy over whether it was a legal punch Dubois dropped him. Now, I know it was a body shot, or a low blow depending on how you see it, but it was a good fight. Froch also believes Dubois has improved since then, while Usyk is getting older. Obviously, they're both aging, but Usyk is 36, and Dubois is in his prime at 20.
Shot, and then Dubois can then step in and fight the winner of that. But I think the massive favourite, like I've already said, is Usyk if he's fighting Parker. So Oleksandr Usyk's got a decision here to make. Does he vacate the WBO and maybe fight Dubois? Or does he fight Parker for the WBO? He's been ordered to do that. That's what really...
With the WBO ordering the Parker fight, Froch speculates on Usyk's next move. He thinks Usyk might vacate the WBO title to go for a rematch with Dubois instead. Usyk has a decision to make. Does he vacate the WBO and fight Dubois, or does he defend the WBO title against Parker? He's been ordered to fight Parker, so if he wants to keep his belts, that's what he should do. However, Froch predicts Usyk will likely give up the belt. I think he'll probably vacate, and hopefully if he does, he'll fight Dubois. That's a rematch I believe most boxing fans actually want to see.
Fight Daniel Dubois, because that is a rematch that I think most boxing fans do want to see. Let me know in the comments who you want to see Usyk fight next, and do you think he should vacate or not? And if Usyk does vacate, then who does Parker fight? I mean, I'd like to see Parker fight somebody like AJ. I think that's a good win for Parker, to be honest. I think AJ's finished. I think AJ's well past his best. I don't think his mind's in it. I just think he's finished. And I'm not being an AJ hater. I'm just being honest. He's been ironed out a couple of times, and he's not showing any.
If Usyk vacates, Froch believes Parker should look for another big fight, possibly against Anthony Joshua. If Usyk vacates, then who does Parker fight? I'd like to see him go up against AJ. I think that's a good fight, and honestly, a good win for Parker. However, Froch isn't sure Joshua is still mentally invested in boxing. I don't think AJ's heart is in it anymore. I think he's done, and I'm not an AJ hater, I'm just being honest. He's been knocked out a couple of times and isn't showing signs that he really wants to come back. He also doubts whether the long-rumored Joshua versus Tyson Fury fight will ever happen. He was waiting around for the Fury fight, but that's probably not happening. Fury seems to be digging in and staying retired. At the end of the day, Usyk is in control. He's the unified champion, and he decides what comes next. The smartest move for him? Fight Parker first, then deal with Dubois later. But with every fight, time is running out. Oleksandr Usyk knows his days in the ring are limited, but how much longer does he really have?
How long do you think we will enjoy Oleksandr Usyk, the fighter? How long is left in this career of yours, do you think?
I think it's more than 2 years. 1.5.
Who will make that decision? Will that be yourself? Will it be your wife? Will it be your kids? Will it be your body? Or do you have an exit strategy, a number of fights or a time period where you say that will be it?
I feel great, myself, family. I feel I have more to fight, to prepare.
When asked how much time he has left in boxing, Usyk said, "I think it's more than 2 years. Maybe 2, maybe 1.5. While he still feels strong, he knows time is running out. Heavyweight boxing is brutal, and even the best fighters must listen to their bodies eventually. But when that moment comes, who will make the call? Will it be him, his family, or his body forcing him to step away?" Usyk thought carefully before answering. "I feel great," he said. "My family. I feel I still have more to fight for, more to prepare for." His words show that while he's still hungry for competition, he understands the sacrifices his loved ones make for his career. Both potential matchups would be huge. Dubois would be fighting for redemption, while Parker has proven himself to be a tough, durable contender. Either fight would challenge Usyk's ability to stay on top as time catches up with him. Still, Usyk knows his time in boxing isn't unlimited. "Not more than 2, he repeated, making it clear that while he's not done yet, he has a timeline in mind. He hasn't set a strict number of fights or a specific retirement date, but he knows the finish line isn't far away. Boxing is all about timing. If everything plays out as expected, Usyk versus Parker, Dubois versus Joshua, we're setting up some of the biggest heavyweight fights in recent history. What do you think? Should Usyk fight Parker first? Should Dubois go after Joshua? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.